Situated in the north of Spain bordering France, the Basque Country is an autonomous nationality on Spanish soil. From Germany, we flew to the largest Basque city of Bilbao and took a 1-hour bus to the coastal city of San Sebastian, Donostia in Euskara, the Basque language. The city sits on Conch Bay, ringed by Conca and Ondarreta beaches. The Urumea River bisects the city, where you can see dramatic tidal changes every day. Our apartment was across the river by Zuriola Beach. From there, it was a short walk across the Cursal Bridge to Old Town. The Baroque architecture of Parte Vieja, Old Town, is gorgeous. One of the centerpieces is the Basilica of St. Mary of the Chorus. But the most prominent feature of Parte Vieja is the Hill of Urgul with its Sacred Heart statue, visible from almost everywhere in the city. The slopes of Urgul have been occupied since at least the 1st century CE. It's a pleasant, scenic, wooded walk to the top of the hill, which was heavily fortified from the 12th to 19th centuries. Atop the main fort, the 12-meter-tall Sagrada Corazon overlooks the entire city. The Basque people have their own unique culture, language, Euskara, and flag. The Greater Basque region, home to over 3 million people, extends farther inland into Spain and north into France. The San Telmo Museum of the Basque Society in Old Town is housed in a former monastery dedicated to the patron saint of sailors. The Basque people, one of the oldest communities in Europe, predate Rome by many centuries and have remained largely untouched by outside influences. Their language is unrelated to any other living language. The institution that oversees and protects the language is located in Bilbao. Of particular interest to us was the extensive Basque connection to the Philippines. The Basque people have a long and proud naval history, and most of Ferdinand Magellan's sailors were Basque, and his second-in-command, San Sebastian Elcano, was of Basque origin. Elcano survived the Battle of Mactan, where Magellan was killed, and completed the first documented circumnavigation. Other prominent Basque Spaniards in Philippine history include Friar Andres de Urdaneta, a member of Elcano's crew and later a key Catholic missionary, José Basco y Vargas, Governor General and the father of modern Philippine agriculture, Don Enrique Maria Barreto de Escaza y Esteban, the founder of the San Miguel Brewery, and Enrique Zobel de Ayala. One of the darkest episodes in Basque history occurred in the town of Guernica. The 1937 bombing of civilians during the Spanish Civil War was memorialized by Pablo Picasso. His painting has become a Basque cultural icon, found on city walls and in private homes like our host in Bilbao. This poster in Bilbao says, "If you ignore the Iraqi refugees, you ignore our own history," referencing the Guernica camps. After Donostia, we took a bus back to Bilbao. From there, it was an easy subway ride and walk to our flat just above the Casco Viejo, Old Part. Bilbao is a hilly city with streets rising quickly from the river level. Fortunately, There was a public elevator and moving stairs for when we didn't feel like climbing. Bilbao sits on the estuary of Bilbao with access to the Bay of Biscay and Atlantic Ocean. It has been an important port city since the Middle Ages. Casco Viejo was built around this port. We took a walking tour, free except for tips, that started just outside of Casco Viejo at the Teatro Arriaga. The 19th century opera house is next to a very nice square and park. With a weekend book and flea market. The nearby roads are also closed to cars on weekends. Casco Viejo has 7 main streets. The visible architecture ranges from the 15th to 19th centuries, as fires, floods, and war forced several rebuilds. The Catedral de Santiago sits near the middle of Casco Viejo. Dedicated to St. James the Great, the Gothic and Gothic Revival building is adorned with his symbol, the scallop shell. The scallop is also the symbol for the Camino de Santiago pilgrimage, and Bilbao is a stop on one of the routes. Another tour stop was the beautifully ornate Herrera Mercatua, or river market. Built in the 19th century in the old port, this 2-story structure once held the Guinness World Record for most complete municipal food market and was the most spacious covered market in Europe at 10,000 square meters. Today, most stalls are closed, but you can still find a decent selection. The building next to the market once held the Merchants Guild of Bilbao. From the market, the tour went along the river to the Subizuri, Euskara for White Bridge. The pedestrian bridge, designed by famed architect Santiago Calatrava, is beautifully modern in appearance, but has been the object of much local criticism. According to our guide, the bridge becomes treacherous in Bilbao's many cold, rainy, and even icy winter days. Fortunately, we didn't have to experience that. This bizarre sculpture is another landmark. The QR code has more information, but only in Spanish and Euskara. The final stop on the walking tour was the renowned Bilbao Guggenheim Museum, opened in 1997. Credited with spurring the urban renewal of the city, the museum is now a symbol of Bilbao and was a rare occurrence when critics, academics, and the public were united in praising a building. Puppy, by artist Jeff Koons, sits in front of the museum. Covered in 60,000 plants, the sculpture gets regular seasonal facelifts. The winter arrangement was just unveiled while we were there. The Bilbao Central Library, also in Casco Viejo, is housed in a gorgeous 19th century building. It's worth stopping in during open hours to check it out. Opposite Casco Viejo, Moyua Plaza is the heart of New Bilbao. The architecture is noticeably more modern and beautiful in its own fashion. Bilbao's subway and tram systems aren't extensive, but they are clean and modern. There's also a funicular very close to Subizuri that takes you up to a beautiful park with a fantastic view of the city. The Bilbao Maritime Museum presents the naval history of the city, which peaked in the late 19th century. The Vizcaya Bridge, a masterpiece of the industrial age, is located at the end of the subway system, at the mouth of the Bilbao estuary, where it empties into the Bay of Biscay. the world's oldest transporter bridge. It was opened in 1893 to ferry passengers, cargo, and later vehicles across the river without disrupting maritime traffic. You can ride across with a standard metro ticket or purchase a combined ticket that includes the elevator to the top. The sturdy frame is really stable, even in high winds. One side gives a view of the city, the other of the port and the bay. The bridge only shakes a little bit when the transporter car goes underneath you. Basque Country is renowned for its cuisine, a major reason we wanted to visit. San Sebastian has the highest density of Michelin-starred restaurants in Europe. While they are well outside our price range, even the regular food is amazing. On a friend's recommendation, we ate Avic's birthday meal at Gondarias in Parte Vieja and had an amazing dinner. Pinchos, spikes in Euskara, are a Basque tradition. Toppings, usually skewered on a slice of bread, this simple premise offers a wide variety of options. Bilbao also has great food, especially pinchos and especially in Casco Viejo, particularly in Plaza Nueva. The exceptional restaurants have barrettes prominently displayed. Originally Basque, called chapela or boneta, they're trophies from the annual pinchos competition. Our son and his girlfriend were in grad school in Bilbao, so we met them a couple of times during our week for pinchos, and once for chocolate con churros. Basque Country is a must-see part of Spain. Even though the weather wasn't great, we still thoroughly enjoyed our time there. Eskerrik asko.